Hi everyone, my name is Teacher Manette from chrisamaricos.com, where we help you to level up and show the world the best version of yourself. Have you ever wondered how a bunch of words can transform into meaningful sentences? Today we are going to understand how nouns, verbs, adjectives, and more weave the magic of language. Let's dive in. Let's start with the king of the sentence kingdom, the noun. Nouns are the name givers. They identify people, places, things, or ideas. For example, John, Paris, ball, or freedom. Almost every sentence will have a noun, and each noun performs a different role in each sentence. Nouns can act as the subject, the indirect object, the direct object, a subject complement, and an object complement. Nouns can also function as adjectives and verbs. Types of nouns. Number 1. Proper noun. A proper noun is a noun that is used to name a person, a place, or a thing. Proper nouns always begin with a capital letter. For example, my name is Manette. I live in Switzerland. Manette and Switzerland are both proper nouns. Number 2. Common nouns. Common nouns are those nouns that refer to a generic item, group, or place. Common nouns are not capitalized unless they appear at the beginning of a sentence. For example, I bought a car last year. Car is a common noun in this sentence. Number 3. Countable nouns. Countable nouns are those nouns that can be counted or measured. For example, Mom asked me to buy a dozen eggs. A dozen eggs is the countable noun in this sentence. A dozen means 12. Number 4. Uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns are those nouns that cannot be counted. This category of nouns includes both concrete and abstract nouns. For example, I have a lot of homework to do. A lot of homework refers to an amount that is not specific, uncountable. Number 5, collective nouns. A collective noun is a naming word that is used to denote a group of objects, animals, or people. For example, a pride of lions, a band of musicians, a pair of shoes, and so on. Number 6, concrete nouns. A concrete noun refers to objects that are material and can be perceived by the human senses. For example, the book is on the table, I had a cup of tea. And number 7, abstract nouns. Any entity that cannot be perceived by the 5 senses of the human body are called abstract nouns. For example, honesty is the best policy. Now meet the action heroes of our sentences. The verbs. They show what the nouns are doing or their state of being. Runs, flies, is, seems, and so on are all examples of verbs. Let us first have a look at how verbs can be classified generally according to what action they signify. Number 1. Verbs referring to action. Action verbs are the verbs that refers to the movement of one's body in one direction or the other. Some examples of action verbs are walk, run, talk, sit, read, write, and so on. Number 2, verbs referring to experiences or feelings. These are verbs that refer to something that you can feel or experience and do not necessarily involve movement of any kind. Some examples of verbs referring to experiences and feelings are love, hate, envy, jealousy, believe, trust, and so on. Number 3, verbs referring to a state or condition. These verbs are those that refer to situations or the state of being. All forms of to be verbs belong to this category. Some examples of verbs referring to a state or condition are as follow: am, is, are, was, were, and so on. Verbs can be classified into numerous types according to their function or role in a sentence or context. Let's look into the various types of verbs and some example of each type of verb. Auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. These verbs are used to help other verbs sound sensible and meaningful. They are used to change the other verb's tense, mood, or voice. So every time an auxiliary verb is used, you always have one more verb which acts as the main verb in the sentence. Some examples of auxiliary verbs are am, is, are, was, were, have, has, and so on. Moving to modal verbs. Modal verbs are those verbs that are used to signify possibility, probability, capability, or necessity of something happening. Modal verbs, unlike other auxiliary verbs, cannot be used as a main verb in a sentence. Some examples of modal verbs are can, could, will, would, may, might, and so on. Next up, we have phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs include phrases that are formed by combining two or more parts of speech. In most cases, a phrasal verb results in the combination of a verb and a preposition. Some examples of phrasal verbs are go by, lay off, log in, get off, and so on. Linking verbs connects the subject to the object, an adjective, and even a prepositional phrase. Let's look at the following examples to understand how linking verbs work in a sentence. For example, Danny is my brother. In this sentence, the words Danny and brother are used to refer to the same person. Example number 2. The children were in the park. In this example, the verb were is used to connect the subject, the children, to the prepositional phrase in the park. Next are the spices that add flavor to our sentences. The adjectives. Adjectives describe or modify nouns. Blue, happy, spiky, and delicious are all examples of adjectives. An adjective often comes before a noun. For example, a green car, a dark sky, and so on. And sometimes an adjective comes after a noun. For example, my car is green. The sky became dark. Adjectives can also modify pronouns. For example, they were empty. I thought it seemed strange. She is beautiful, and so on. To learn more about adjectives, join one of our lessons. As we put all of these parts of speech together, we form sentences. But the fun doesn't stop here. We've also got adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Intrigued? Stay tuned to discover a brief explanation of these unsung heroes of grammar. Starting off with adverbs. An adverb modifies or describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Gently, extremely, carefully, and well are all examples of adverbs. Adverbs usually answers the questions of when, where, how, why, under what conditions, or to what degree. Next up, we have prepositions. A preposition is a word placed before a noun or pronoun to form a phrase modifying another word in the sentence. By, with, about, and until are all examples of prepositions. Conjunctions are up next. A conjunction joins words, phrases, or clauses, and, but, or, while, because are all examples of conjunctions. And lastly, we have interjections. An interjection is a word used to express emotion. Oh, wow, oops, are all examples of interjections. And there we have it, the fascinating building blocks that create the world of sentences, from kings to action heroes to spices and unsung heroes. We have explored them all. The more you understand these elements, the better your mastery of the English language will be. Keep playing with these blocks, keep constructing sentences, and keep exploring the beauty of language. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep the curiosity alive. If you want to use English to take your career to the next level, then click on the link under this video to join our Level Up training. And if you want speaking practice with native teachers all day, every day, then watch our free 16-minute lesson about how you can understand what I am saying but still can't speak. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed our linguistic journey today. And don't forget to share with fellow language enthusiasts. See you in our next video. Bye.